guys, it's me again, and today we're on Tonga. No, Tonga, not Tonga, Tonga, sorry about that. So yeah, the earliest date is confirmed by radiocarbon testing for settlement of the Tongan group is 1100 BC. On Tonga Tapu as a Laptia people, and the first capital at Talo, near present-day Fuamotu. International Airport has archaeological excavations in the village of Hefo and Haipia unearthed Pita potteries. I really need to find out what Latipa means, if it actually means a thing. Yes, it may not sound like it means much, but yeah. I have had moments where it's does it actually mean anything, and found out it does actually mean something, so yeah. And Lapita pottery that has been carbonated settlement in the area to more than 3,000 years ago. As a Vavu group has been settled for around 2,000 years. As the first king of Tonga, known as Tui Tonga, was Ahoetu, and he came to power sometime in the middle of the 10th century AD, and was the first in the line of almost 40 men to hold the title. And during 400 years after the first Tui Tonga, the Tongans were aggressive colonizers, extending their empire over eastern Fiji, Niue, and northward as far as Samoa and Takalau. As the first Europeans to arrive on Tonga were the Dutch under Willem Schouten and Jacob Lemaire, who bumped into the Niue in 1616. As Tonga Tapu's first European was the Dutchman Abel Tasman. He spent a few days trading with the locals in 1643 as he named the island Amsterdam, but obviously didn't stick. In the same year, Tasman was also the first European to visit the Hapai group. As the next European that came into contact with him was in 1773 by one James Cook, who became friends with 30th Tui Tonga, Vatefehi Palaho, and Vavau remained unseen by Europeans until Spaniard Don Francisco Antonio Morelli showed up in 1781, making it one of the last South Pacific island groups to be in contact with Europe. And in 1831, missionaries baptized the ruling Tui Tonga, who took the Christian name of George. I'll get back to that one. As King George Taupo I, he united Tonga, and up until, with the help of the first Prime Minister, Reverend Shirley Baker, came up with a flag as a state-stealing national anthem, then began drafting a constitution, which was passed in 1875. It included a Bill of Rights, a format for legislative and judicial procedures. laws for succession and to the throne and a section of land tenure. And is also responsible for the heavily Christian laws within Tonga today, as the second King George Tupoi II, who took over in 1893, lacked the charisma, character and fearlessness of his first, and he signed a Treaty of Friendship with Britain in 1900, placing Tonga under British protection and giving Britain control over Tonga's foreign affairs. And he died at the age of 45 in 1918. And his 18-year-old daughter, Charlotte, became Queen. She actually became a popular figure within Tonga, as her primary concerns for her country was medicine and education. And with intelligence and compassion, she made friends for Tonga throughout the world and was greatly loved by her own people and by foreigners, as her attendance of Queen Elizabeth's coronation in 1953 won many hearts, as she took part in the procession bareheaded in an open carriage through London, smiling resolutely at crowds despite the pouring rain, as it generally does in England. As King Taufa Ahau Tupoi IV, sorry if I botched that, took over rule of Tonga after his mother's death in 1965, as he established full sovereignty for Tonga on the 4th of June 1970, and oversaw Tonga's administration to the Commonwealth of Nations and to the UN. But in his later years, he made a number of decisions that were seen as unpopular, including selling Tongan passports to anyone who wanted one, and appointing an American to dual role financial role advisor, an official court jester who oversaw the loss of about 50 million Tongan dollars in funds and all that. Like dollars, $50 million in funds, and imposing figure. He was known as the world's heaviest monarch. That's about 210 kilograms. He became a health model for Tongans when he shed more than 75 kilograms in weight, but died when he was 88 in September of 2006. In his last years of life, the king resisted growing calls for democracy, when peaked in 2005 strike by public servants that lasted for months and resulted in a huge growth of pro-democracy sentiment. And 2 months after his death, riots of Nuku Europa killed 8, destroyed much of the business districts, and it shook the world and led to Australian and New Zealand troops being sent to supposedly peaceful Pacific paradise. And following his death in a lavish ceremony, George Tupoi V was crowned in a lavish ceremony on the 1st of August 2008. As he was kind of like a monocular binocular, and was a graduate of Oxford and Sandhurst, and came to power with the Lord Chamberlain, making a statement for his coronation, going as, "The sovereignty of the only Polynesian kingdom is voluntarily surrendering his power to meet the democratic aspirations of his people. The people favour a more representative elected parliament. The king agreed with them. He planned to guide his country through a period of political and economic reform for the 21st century." But it came as a shock when he suddenly died in Hong Kong in 2012, as 150 pallbearers carried him to his grave, and as the country mourned, as his deeply religious and staunchly conservative younger brother, King Tupoi VI, was officially coronated in 2015, along with his wife, Queen Nanasipau, The former Crown Prince and newly King previously voiced his opposition to democracy for Tonga, and has a checkered history in charge, including a stint as Prime Minister that ended in his resignation, as Tonga's economy plummeted during his leadership, leading to a call for his democracy his brother heeded, as he was also involved in the demise of Royal Tongan Airlines, which lost the country millions. And while many worry about the future under the new king, others feel as a family man with a wife and children. His brother died single, as he died a bachelor. There'll be future kings and all, as his lengthy hyper-festive coronation is an indication he'll be kind of adored somewhat. But bringing it back to pre-all, to the 40s and all, and with 24 hours of the Japanese bombing of Pearl Harbor in 1941, Tonga declared war on Japan, as a wave of fear swept through the South Pacific, and people worried how far the Japanese war machine would go. And between 1942 and 45, it estimated that 30,000 US servicemen passed through Tonga, either stationed there or kind of en route to other places. And at the time, Tonga was a closely closeted nation of little more than 30,000 people itself. So yeah, the population virtually doubled. And it was still reeling from the 1918 flu pandemic, and some suggest that new bloodlines, those thousands of GIs introduced into Tongan society, were saviours of Tonga, and deepening the gene pool, bolstering immunity, and building a platform for population growth. And yeah, the Kingdom of Tonga is a Polynesian nation composed of about 169 islands spreading over the southern Pacific Ocean, as Tonga has four major regions, with 70% of the population occupying the Tonga Tapu Island region, as the country is comprised of various ethnic groups, with about 96.6% of the population being Tongan in original, while 1.7% being European, and 1% in European, Eurasian in Asian, and 1% European, and 1% East Asian. As Tonga and English are the official languages of the kingdom, as attempts in previous years have been made to introduce a bilingual policy on the island, as the policy was mainly intended to promote the both of use English and Tongan, while at the same time preserving the Tongan language from declining. As English is one of the official languages of Tonga, while Tongan is the most commonly used language among the population, as English is the primary means of instruction for education on the island, as the more likely to be spoken around towns. And yeah, English was introduced when a certain James Cook went to Tonga, as English is currently being taught as a second language in schools, and the primary mode of communication for business purposes. Also, English is the first language of European immigrants from Britain and all that. And Tongan is the official and national language of the Kingdom of Tonga, and includes about 200,000 native speakers, as most speakers live in Tonga, as the language has speakers in American Samoa, Vanuatu, Canada, Fiji, Niue, United States, Australia, New Zealand, and Wallisian. And yeah, the first written form of language appeared in the 19th century by European missionaries, as it was a mainly spoken language till then. And the writing is based on the Latin script as the Privy Council of Tonga developed current spellings used for language in 1943, as a few literary publications have made in language, including translation of the Bible and the Book of Mormon, which are two separate religions and all that. It's like, if you go by the Bible, you're a Christian. Book of Mormon, you're a Mormon, kind of thing. Other papers include daily newspapers and weekly and monthly magazines such as Tuamua Leli, which is produced by Catholic Church. While the Tongan language is related to most Polynesian languages such as Tahitian, Maori and Hawaiian, this displays more of Proto-Polynesian characteristics in terms of phonology. Yeah. Got a short one. As during the Dark Ages there was a name of a Fijian god who was kind of influential, and he was called Takuaka, and he was one of the high gods of Fiji, and he was a guardian of the reef, as the god was brave, strong, fearless and jealous of other reef guardians, and he was best known for of all the gods that guard the reefs. And yeah, as he could sometimes change into a shark, so they could travel from island to island, and so he could kind of defeat other reef guardians. And one day he went to the Lamaiviti Island group to challenge guardians of the reef, and he beat the guardians quite easily, and then he decided to go to Suva. They arrived in Suva and the guardians of the reef challenged him. During the battle, two creatures were massive and they generated large waves. The waves caused the rivers to overflow, flooding the valleys for many miles inland. They also caused the sea to go really rough and people were scared. But he won yet another battle, and he continued challenging the most of the other reef guardians, and he won each battle until he met an old friend called Mas Ilata, who happened to be like another god. I told him that there is a brave guardian, that the gods of the Kamatuvu Islands, Tokulaka, didn't waste any time when he went to look for this guardian. Has listened to the sounds of the reef and swam towards the sound. When he found an entrance to the reef, he saw like a big octopus waiting for him, as they had 4 tentacles that were floated on the surface of the water, and another 4 that grasped the reef. As Tauka swam right into straight for the Feka, and the 4 floating tentacles wrapped around him and squeezed his body tight, and Takauke could feel that it was really strong, that the octopus was really strong, and he felt that death was upon him, and for the first time ever he admitted defeat. As he begged, "Let me go and I promise I won't harm any people for the rest of time." And he was let go, and to this day he keeps his promise, as the people of Kamatuvu can go to the ocean to swim or fish, and they will not be harmed by any sharks or not. So yeah, that is everything for you, and I'll see you very shortly for the third and final. So yeah, bye for now.